Good morning, everybody. I'm Love Coach Scott Catamas, and it is the Sacred Sunday Show on Sunday, October 24th, 2021. And I want to welcome all of you. Anybody watching on Facebook, those of you coming live into our Zoom room, and those of you in the Zoom room, let us know your name and where you're from. I already see some of our regular friends joining us, so that's always quite lovely. And we have a really beautiful guest today. This is David Gershon. And like all things that come through Christian Hoffman, he is a real blessing. He's a beautiful, beautiful man. And met him through Kristen. Tell you a little bit about him. I put the spotlight fully on him so that while I'm singing his praises, you can just drop into the beauty of this soul. David is the founder and CEO of the Empowerment Institute, and he's been called the #1 expert on social change. He's dedicated his life to empowering humanity to believe that we can create the world of our dreams and designing the strategies to actually make it a reality. Based on his decades of empowerment and transformative social change experience, he has architected a bold plan to change the world called Reinventing the Planet. His Peace on Earth by 2030 game plays a central role in this grand strategy, and it builds upon his experience organizing way back the 1986 First Earth Run. I remember that, in which a torch of peace witnessed by 1 billion people encircled the planet, stopping wars and uniting people as one. So David, clearly you have dedicated your life to this incredible mission. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you and how we can all participate. And I'm wondering if you would be willing to start us off with a meditation.
Be my pleasure, Scott. Thank you for those kind words. So Sunday, in our world of Peace on Earth, Sunday we call Oneness Sunday. And the goal of Oneness Sunday is to feel your oneness with all of humankind and to envision peace on earth by 2030. So it's perfect for Sunday. I've already lit my candle, and anyone who has a candle, I invite you to light a candle and do that regularly and join the millions of people around the world who are lighting Oneness Sunday candles. So let us have a Oneness Sunday meditation. So take a few deep breaths. And as you breathe in, allow yourself to feel a sense of calm, quiet, peace, serenity, and harmony. And as you breathe out, allow yourself to let go of anything that has been disturbing to you in the last 24 hours or last hour. Let it go. Just let it wash away so you can be present in this moment of oneness. And open your heart to the world. Allow yourself to be in harmony, starting with yourself, with all that's in your life, all the challenges you face, and all the beauty. Allow all that is to be peaceful with it. Now allow yourself to be in harmony with your beloved family and friends. See them in your heart and hold them and feel the oneness that you share with their specialness to your life. They're in your life for a very special purpose. Honor them. Feel that sense of oneness. They're your teachers and you are their teachers. For a reason. Now feel yourself in harmony with your neighbors. Those people who you don't know very well, who live nearby. You may pass them on a street or in an elevator, but you don't know them very well. Allow yourself to love thy neighbor. those people who are in proximity to your physical body. Feel the connection, feel the oneness, and send blessings to them. Now allow yourself to feel oneness with the people that you pass in the grocery store or wherever you move around in the world, on the street, as you walk, as you run, as you bike, the cars that pass you by, the people who show up in your world that day. They change every day. Feel yourself in oneness with them. And send them blessings. They are your immediate larger community. And now expand wider and see yourself blessing the people in your workplace, all the people that you encounter, those that are your intimate colleagues, as well as anyone in that workspace that you are working with that support you and that you support. And feel your oneness with them. And send them your blessings. Let them receive, let them feel yourself sending them blessings, and feel yourself with them receiving those blessings and how that feels to you when you bless. And now expand further and feel yourself in oneness with all the people who live in the same city as you. Your largest community geographically. And see those people as your larger self and send them your blessings. And feel them feeling your blessings and feeling brighter that day, this moment. And now, send blessings and feel yourself in harmony with all those who see the world differently than you do. They have different political persuasions, perhaps religious persuasions or lack thereof. See yourself in harmony with them. Feel your oneness with their souls and send them your blessings. And feel that difference just falling away as we find that which we have in common. Now send blessings to everyone in your country. Feel the country that you've incarnated in and feel its soul and send it your blessings and feel it evolving through that blessing you are offering it, transcending and transmuting the differences that keep us apart. And now feel yourself in harmony with all the beings on this planet. All 7 point, whatever number we are at now, 7.5, 7 point, not keeping track, almost 8 billion. Feel yourself at one with each of these beings who've incarnated at this very special moment when Earth is evolving. And lastly, feel yourself in harmony with the spiritual dimensions of our reality, the archangels, ascended masters, the beings from all over the universe that are supporting humanity in its evolution. Feel yourself in harmony with all these beings who have dedicated their existence to serving humanity's evolution, and invite them into your heart and ask them for your blessings. Ask them for their blessings and offer your blessings to them. And now feel yourself in harmony with all that is. All that is. And be in that state for a moment. Feel it in your heart. Feel it in your mind. Feel it in your spirit. And embody it in every cell in your body.
Mm. It's just so beautiful. Wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you, David.
You're welcome, Scott. Thanks for the opportunity.
Mm. And welcome to everybody in our Zoom room. Welcome to those of you watching on Facebook, and also again, anybody watching the recording a little bit later on, or a lot later on. I'd love to hear from, I see a lot of our friends, Bonnie, Dia, Eleanor, Lorna, Mary, Pat, Susan, Matt. A lot of our friends are with us today. Any thoughts you want to share in the chat room about this meditation that David just put on, or any of the things we're going to be talking about? David, I'm going to ask you a few questions so we can get to know you.
Please.
Let's go all the way back. Tell us a little bit. What was it like as a child? Like, did you, even as a child, feel like you were here to play a significant role in changing the world? Like, tell us about little David up to putting together the peace around the world.
Well, I would say little David wasn't quite sure how to orient himself on this planet. I didn't quite feel in harmony, if you will, talking about harmony, with my world. It didn't quite make sense to me, the way people were treating one another. And so I stayed relatively unconscious, I think, to protect myself. Probably when I got to college, I started awakening spiritually and began a meditation practice, sought out a spiritual teacher, and began the journey of awakening, then coming into God, my God self. And one of the interesting things as I was doing that, Scott, was that I was really trying to find a path that would be an integrated path, not just one of inner development, but outer service as well. That dynamic has always been a key part of my journey. And I eventually called it the way of the spiritual warrior, the way of the spiritual warrior. So that is the inner development and outer service, and really learning how to serve skillfully as opposed to just reacting to problems. So it was always getting generated out of a spiritual desire to create a better world rather than a limitation of the current state. And that eventually evolved into something we called the Empowerment Institute. I met my wife and we started something we call the Empowerment Institute, and it was designed around an idea that really was new in the culture. This is 1981. The idea of empowerment hadn't really landed. And so we came together to see if we could bring that notion into the world and really make it coherent. And we define it as the ability to envision and create what you want in your life. And then that eventually evolved into your work, to organizations, and ultimately the planet. So that's one track. The second track is that in 1976, it was post-Vietnam, and I was watching America go into an identity crisis. Who are we that did such a thing? And so I was also an aspiring Olympic marathoner. So I put a team together, and we passed a torch around America. We called it Liberty Torch, to reconnect us with the spiritual values upon which America was founded. And we went through all 50 states. It was 9,000 miles nonstop. And then we sent runners to Alaska and Hawaii. And it became a phenomenon of the bicentennial. And I became aware of what Joseph Campbell called myth and ritual, and how it touches people and transcends ideology. And as the torch was being extinguished in downtown Manhattan, Federal Hall, where George Washington was inaugurated, the thought came into my mind, pass this torch around the world to create peace on earth. And ever since that notion came into my mind in 1976, it became clear that was one of the reasons I incarnated, to do that, to actually close the deal for humanity. Can we get there? Yes, we can. So that was my original yes, we can moment. And so I went on the journey to see if I could pull that off. And by 1979, I was unsuccessful in convincing anyone that this idea was viable or possible. And just as I was wondering if I should throw in the towel, I got a call from the Olympic Committee that said, we've been looking for someone to organize the 1980 Olympic Games torch relay. You seem to have cornered the market on torch relays. Would you organize it? So I said, of course, I'd love to organize it. So I repurposed this team. We went to Olympia, got the flame. It was this amazing thing. I got the Air Force One to fly on. It was an extraordinary event. We chose the final torchbearer on ABC Wide World of Sports based on who best represented the whole person. So we kind of changed the game of how the Olympics was even organizing itself. Fast forward, I wasn't done with torch relays. In 1983, the world was in this crisis where America and Russia were about to blow each other up, a nuclear holocaust. And I realized we needed to try a new strategy, sort of another dimension on the chessboard, which is to create a non sequitur and bring us together, as opposed to just protest how bad things are. And so that became the catalyst for this. And what happened was that we were able to convince the United Nations to partner with us. UNICEF became our sponsor and funder. We organized 25 million people, 45 heads of state, 62 countries, and 1 billion people watched it. It was covered on Good Morning America every week as it went around the world. And we raised many millions of dollars for the neediest children. And after that, I was transformed, because now I was officially able to say the most outrageous things, and people wouldn't write me off right away. They give me at least a little room. And so I've still been on that path since then. And the outrageous things are the dreams that we all hold in our hearts are actually more possible than we might imagine. And so I've been at it now since then. And Peace on Earth vision by 2030, the game we've created, among other things, is all part of that.
Beautiful. What a beautiful, beautiful story, and challenging. I've got about 17 questions in my head. Let's go back to when you were kind of trying to sort it all out. And I actually have a theory which I want to run by you and see how you resonate with it. I believe that beings such as yourself are what I call earth angels. They are spirits that are really of a higher vibration, that don't normally come to this planet, but thousands, perhaps millions have come, because it is a time of evolution. Obviously, humanity is at a tipping point, and there's a lot of evidence to support that we are in a 6th level extinction event happening. And there's, of course, then the vision that you hold and that other way showers such as yourself hold. But I find that I'm attracted to what I call earth angels. And they tend to be very sensitive, very wise, but also it's hard being on the physical plane. It's hard being on this planet. It's dense. It's, there's things that happen here that don't make sense to someone whose nature is living in a state of oneness, living in a state of love and compassion. So first of all, do you kind of relate to that? Is that?
I do relate to that. I know that I've been keying off many incarnations for this one. And I awakened reasonably early to know what I was here to do. What I've also found is that I've done, maybe from past lives, maybe this life, enough spiritual work so that I can work in this density. So I don't find it uncomfortable. And once I acclimated when I was young to the fact that this is the nature of this particular planet, which is not a common planet in the universe. It's one of the more dense planets from what I know of it and know of the universe. It was the job, it was the mission. And so I've been for my whole life learning how to pull off this mission, how to do this mission. It's taken me decades to learn all that was necessary to make the changes that we all know need to be made. But the question is, we don't know how to make the changes often. So we just struggle with the frustration of seeing what's possible and then seeing our current reality and not knowing how to change it. So that has been the deepest part of the journey. So that when I move forward with something like this game, it's based on a lot of experience of how to actually make things work. And so, that's a bit of the earth angel, if you will, or whatever term we would use for such a person, dynamic that I've been working on. So it isn't just like, how do I adjust? It's more, this is where I am. Let me make it work.
I'm definitely going to ask, a little bit about what are some of the steps, some of the things that we can do. But I also have a couple of videos of yours that I'd like to play. And I thought it might be kind of fun to play, start off with the 2-minute video that Kristen helped to do with you.
I'd love it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at that one. Oh, and let me make sure that I've got my sound on. Aha, good thing I checked. There we go.
What if peace on Earth was actually possible? What if it was not only possible, but could be achieved by 2030? What if enough people playing a game could tip the world into this reality? We are building a movement of dream keepers, those who believe peace on Earth is possible and are committed to making it a reality. Empowered with the 7 actions that enabled the first Earth Run to unite the world and create peace on Earth over its 86-day journey, these 7 actions are designed as a global game that will take place between 2020 and 2030. The planet's wisdom keepers tell us that when 1/2 of 1% of humanity wholeheartedly believe peace on Earth is possible, that's 40 million people, there will be enough coherence of thought and emotion to shift our collective consciousness to make this a reality. With the torch held high, we will experience the world we most want in our hearts coming into existence and witness the dawning of a new future for humankind. Play the game and have fun. Make friends. Create community. Make a difference. Celebrate our common humanity. At this critical time, when we are becoming more and more divided, this game serves as deep medicine to heal that which separates us. We invite you to be one of the planet's dream keepers and accept this sacred fire as a torchbearer for our future as a species. I'll carry the torch. Will you?
You're muted, Scott.
I'm saying it's such a beautiful video and such a. How about now? Here we go. Can you hear me now?
Again, yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful video.
Thank you.
And so I've actually gone right to the website that video promotes. So walk us through this a little bit. Tell us a little bit. This is the website, peace2030.earth. So everybody,
Sure.
it's peace2030, peace2030.earth. And it's what comes up. So walk
So
us.
let me start with telling you what just came up, and then we'll walk you through the rest of the websites. Perfect. So, well, fast forward to playing the game. And at the end of playing the game, there's an opportunity to create the game in your community. We call that a peace on earth zone as a counterpoint to a war zone. And a peace on earth zone is where you're bringing your community into harmony. It's where you're healing. It's basically a place where you are practicing what I said and did in my meditation, coming into harmony with self, with others, with your community, with your neighbors, where you work. And our current experience of community is fractured. We do not know how to be in community. Mm-hmm. So it starts with harmony with self, then others, and ultimately the earth. So the game enables you to do that. And there are 7 actions that came out of the first Earth Run that allowed us to, wherever the torch of peace went, have all wars stopped. I mean, think about that. There were many, many wars. And whenever we came, the word was out, you can't fight. So leaders would have their children carry the flame together. It was quite a remarkable phenomenon. It really showed me what's possible. It comes out of the Olympic idea called Asteria. When they would create the Olympics, all wars had to stop for at least those 2 weeks. And then people could meet each other and discover their common humanity. Mm. So it's got a long history. But anyway, that happened during the Earth Run in many places. And I met with many world leaders. And I would always ask them, what's their vision for peace on earth? Mm. And they would always say the same thing. No one ever asked me that question.
Wow.
And then they would share it with me. And then I would ask them to speak, and they would speak from that place. So it was quite remarkable to watch the malleability of our consciousness to go to new places we've never imagined before. So the game comes out of that deep, deep knowledge and learning and wisdom that we acquired from having to make that happen. Each of the actions does a distinct piece of the puzzle. The first one actually is to help you come into harmony with yourself so that you're not projecting your unresolved issues out into the world and calling it someone else's problem. And then the second one is learning how to befriend the other, those people who you would normally, that part of the meditation this morning, who are the people who see the world differently. Mm-hmm. And we all have those people in our world. Most of us do.
And question, so as people play the game, like, let's just take that particular step, right? What is the step? Like, what is the practice?
How does it work? Yeah, got it. Well, let's just start with each of the actions has kind of like a way to play, which has medals. So there's a bronze, silver, and gold medal. Each has higher levels of difficulty. And in the first action, it's about the deepening of your own self. So there's lesser and more developed ways to do that, starting with a meditation each day on harmony, on up to really building your own agency so you can go out and be an agent of change. Befriend the other action is about different levels of reaching out and befriending others. So I don't remember the exact numbers, but the bronze medal is, I think it's 1 to 5 people that you reach out to. I think that silver is 6 to 10, and then 10 and above is the gold medal. What that means is you have to reach out to 10 distinct people if you're getting a gold medal, which I got a gold medal, which, by the way, wasn't easy. I mean, it doesn't mean that because I know this that it's easy. So I had to reach out to people who I normally wouldn't interact with. And some of them are more mundane than you might imagine. Someone, comes to our house to clean our house, and I never really take time to connect with that soul. And I'm just too busy saving the world. So I decided I was going to meet that person. Each time they came, I would befriend them, ask how their life was. Now, some people, that's easy. For me, it wasn't, because I was too busy. So it's not like there's a right or wrong way to do it. It's wherever that person or that place is in your life where you don't connect and or you reject at some level. And it goes on like that. For some people, it's befriending people that they've ended a difficult relationship with. For some people, it is, someone with a different political ideology, which is no problem to find today, or a different worldview of some sort. And in Afghanistan, I know your show, you did something on last night with our friends in Afghanistan, because they've been playing the Peace on Earth game. They would actually befriend, believe it or not, some of the Taliban. They would befriend people who were war-torn, people who were homeless. They would go to the streets and they would say it, and we had young people doing it. It was so beautiful. And they would the simple action was, I'd like to be your friend. Hi, my name is whatever, Alisina, what's yours? And no one ever does that. And so they would do these amazing things. And when young people play the game, they go beyond friending on Facebook, and they actually say, I'm playing a game. I want to be your friend, but I don't want to just friend you. Let's start a conversation. And so that's shifting the frequency. There's a whole new relationship that starts to happen that way, and it transforms us personally. And right now, actually, through the end of October, we have this game, we're calling it Peace Month. And we actually did it in September. We had such a good response on your show, even though we had technical difficulty. And we had such a good response, we've extended it into October. So people are playing just that action, befriend the other.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll continue with the other steps, but I want to acknowledge some of the comments and questions coming in.
Yeah.
And Lorna asks, what's extremely divisive in my 55 plus community is the vaccine. She's asking for your thoughts on it. And I actually also want to share some thoughts on it as well, but I'll let you go first, David.
Thank you. Well, depending upon your perspective, there are beings, I believe, who wish to keep us separated. And these are not earthly beings. There's like a darker energy that sometimes people don't understand is in play on this world. And they don't really care what the issue is. It could be vaccines, it could be war, it could be politics, it could be anything. The main goal is to lower our frequency so that there's another and separate us. Because when we reject and project onto another, we are in judgment. When we're in judgment, we have a low frequency, and we can't raise the frequency of humanity, of our own being. And so the goal ultimately is to keep us in a divisive state. And it doesn't really make a difference what the issue is. So from a spiritual perspective, from an evolutionary spiritual perspective, the goal is to bless whatever the person's difference is. We may have a judgment. That judgment says they should be like us. There's a right way and there's a wrong way, and my way is the right way and their way is the wrong way. So that's my spiritual perspective from, let's call it befriend the other, and the game perspective and the peace on earth perspective. If you can do that, it transforms your energy, my energy, our energy, and it transforms their energy, because they don't get polarized by virtue of your projection onto them. So it transcends the rightness or wrongness of any particular point of view, because everyone has a reason for their point of view, and they can justify it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Of course, I resonate with that. I've done a couple of shows all about this, and very specifically using the example of people who believe in vaccination and people who don't believe in it. As Marshall Rosenberg taught us, well, what are the common values? And both sides want the same thing. They want to be healthy, they want to be safe, and they want freedom of choice, right? And so if we can go beyond the strategy of whether vaccination or not vaccination is good or bad, like you said, beyond the polarization, and just, we all want to be healthy. We all want this pandemic to be handled and managed, and we want it to be over, and we want to be able to hug, and we want to be able to connect with each other. And there's just very different strategies of how to do that. And then, like you brought up, David, there are certainly forces, that want to create separation. And then, I think most of us know now that the way social media is developed, whatever it is we read, we will get more of that coming up. If we are pro-Trump, we're going to get more pro-Trump stuff. If we're anti-Trump, we're going to get more anti-Trump stuff. So soon we're living in our own echo chamber, getting filled with all sorts of information to support our beliefs and to polarize and make the other person or the other being bad or wrong. And so that's why your work is so important to, it's like the alternative, or even the cure, if you will, for the polarization. Now, you said something interesting that I'm curious about. You said there are other forces that want to separate us, and I think you said they're not earthly. Tell us more about that, because that's a very
Well, let's call this a cosmology for people to receive or not as they see fit. But my understanding of the earth is that there are energies who have explicitly the job of keeping the earth in this dense vibration. And they do that through fear and war, and whatever ways they can divide us. There's different names for those beings. And there are beings on the other side. Like the number one being that I identify with and work with is Archangel Michael, whose job is to transmute those energies. And from a spiritual point of view, the evolution of the earth is a function of us raising our frequency, which is why I do a lot of work on frequency. Even though a lot of my work is really dense, I have a whole thing on climate that's not even part of that explicitly, but implicitly it is, because I'm transforming people's fear of the future into a path that gives us a viable way to see our ability to address climate change. But in this more explicit work of the Peace on Earth game, it's raising our frequency. So as soon as you raise your frequency, you are not under the control of that energy anymore. That energy is designed to keep us in a low state of consciousness, a low frequency state. So fear, separation, doubt, any of those energies that make us contract, lower our frequency. The 7 frequencies of the game are explicitly designed, and these 7 frequencies of the game are, the first frequency is empowerment, which is building our own agency. The second frequency is oneness, with the meditation I did, befriend the other. The third frequency is, I remember the order of them. I'll give them to you. I don't always have the order right. Cooperation. There's one on love. There's one on unity. There's one on abundance. I think that might be 7. So each action is explicitly giving us an opportunity to raise our frequency around those 7. And I remember, if you may remember the show that we did, the last show, the pre-show, I did a meditation called Welcome to the Golden Age, and Kristen sang her beautiful song. So when you put those 7 frequencies together, you create a collective energy. I call it the Golden Age energy, or Golden Age consciousness. And we start to bring heaven on earth. And Peace on Earth is the portal into this new place. Saint Germain calls it the golden age.
Tell us how you talked about your work with archangels. Tell us a little bit about that, because that's always fascinating. And I know that some of the people watching have a perception about archangels. How do you connect, or how did you connect? How do you work with them? Because that's really fascinating.
I feel like I'm a conduit. I feel like I'm a conduit for a whole set of beings whose job is to help humanity evolve. And so I stay tuned into that energy. I'm open. I receive guidance. They're explicitly clear, though, that you have free will. So it's not like I am so much channeling as much as I'm just a free being to receive the guidance from wherever it's showing up in the universe. And what the guidance has said is, David, you've prepared yourself well enough in this life and other lives, getting ready for this life. So you don't really need our day-to-day operational strategic guidance. You know what to do, but just keep tuning into the spiritual frequency, because that'll keep giving you the guidance you need for how to take the next step, wherever it needs to take you. So that's kind of how I work with it. And whenever I need a bolster of faith or strengthening, I call on Archangel Michael, because he is the keeper of the faith for humanity. And that actually is one of my self-anointed job descriptions, as a keeper of the faith for humanity. So I work a lot with that energy.
Mm-hmm. Faith is so important. I work a lot as a coach with people that are struggling with really hard stuff. Divorce, death, cancer, terminal illnesses, parents with Alzheimer's, that kind of thing. And I've really learned in working with so many people that are going through hard stuff, that the people that have a faith and a practice, and it doesn't have to be any specific religion or denomination, it doesn't even have to be a religious practice. It can be yoga, it can be meditation, it can be playing a musical instrument, it can be a martial art form. There's a lot of different practices. But the people that have a practice, it's so much easier making their way through the hard times. And so I encourage everybody, do you have a practice? And if so, really utilize it. Did you have a practice you've kind of let go of? Resume it. And if you've never had a practice, find one that really resonates for you. Yeah. So as someone here to help keep the faith, what do you say to someone who points out all the ways that the world is seemingly falling apart? It's feeling maybe they're empathizing with the horror of species extinction, things that are, really happening that we can't just, spiritually bypass. How do you support people that are having that experience?
Well, I have a lot of different strategies, you might guess, but I'll start with the most simple one, which is to take responsibility for the frequency that you operate in the world. So if you believe that the world will in some way is doomed, or you have a gloom about the future or despair, then that is that frequency that you will put out. That is the thought form. That is the idea that you'll put into the world. And everyone around you will be influenced by that belief. And my deepest belief is that our thoughts create our experiences, our reality. So if you hold that belief, you will create it, and you will influence many, many, many people. I'll share a story about that, if I may. So when I was organizing, right after I organized the first Earth Run, I got the message the next job I had to take on was another small task called the ecosystem collapse that the planet was facing, and how does one address it? So I built an initiative, which ultimately is now explicitly around climate, which we're launching officially tomorrow, by the way. I'll talk about that if we have a moment. It's pretty exciting. But I was going to try to present this to some people in the UK, and I was telling about this vision, and it was trying to get people to adopt new behaviors so that they can live more sustainably, because that was the greatest cause of the deterioration of the ecosystem. And so my friend had brought his daughter, and as soon as his daughter heard this, she said, there's no way people won't do this. People just don't care. And this is just the way it is. And prior to that, I had spoken to her uncle. And that was her uncle's mantra. And when I asked her when she got that message, she said, well, my uncle has always told me that, so I've just adopted it. And his belief was, and her belief is, we don't make a difference, so why bother? And then I pointed out that he had made a difference, not one that he was hoping for. He had convinced her to become a person who did not believe in others or our future, or that we could change. So any of us who hold that belief make a difference. The question is, what kind of difference? So the very starting point is to take responsibility for the belief and the behaviors that accompany that belief we're putting in the world, which is not the same as changing the belief, but to become aware that you aren't neutral by virtue of holding that belief. The second thing then is become a person of hope. How do you become a person of hope? Become a person of hope by doing things like playing the game, being part of the solution, changing, helping create the changes that we need. My favorite movie of all time that no one else has probably ever seen, well, no, a lot of people have seen it, but it's not like mainstream, everyone's seen it, is the movie Tomorrowland. Did you see it, Scott? You muted.
I love that movie, Tomorrowland. I loved it. And it was interesting because you'll remember it starts when he's about 8 or 9 years old and he goes to the New York World's Fair. In 1964, when I was 8 years old, my very first plane flight, my family, my father and my mother, who didn't have a lot of money, but they put the money together and we flew to New York to go to the New York World's Fair. So it was a very vivid, I remember Sinclair Dino Land, and it was a very vivid time in my life because of my first big trip, my first time on a plane, my first time going to New York. So that movie completely grabbed my attention. And it's beautifully done. I play the soundtrack all the time.
Oh, you do? I should get the soundtrack.
The soundtrack is fantastic. And so anyway, yes.
So the film, let me speak about the film for a second. So this film, it's a long story. I won't go into the whole story. See the film. But what I love about the story is that there was a strategy. They were seeing the world coming to an end. And the goal was to awaken humanity. And the way they tried to awaken humanity was through telling people how bad it was, with the expectation that it would actually awaken them. But what it did is it paralyzed people because they didn't see a way forward. And this young girl who didn't buy into the doomsday stuff started believing that we could change it. And so this doomsday machine that George Clooney had created, who was that young boy at 8 years old, started to flicker, because now there were people that didn't believe that we were doomed. And then as more people started to find each other, they called them the dreamers. They came together. They gave them this little Tomorrowland pin. I've created Tomorrowland pins, by the way.
Wow, I want a Tomorrowland pin.
Yes, I don't call it Tomorrowland, it's called Imagine. And so I give out these pins and I am to help people imagine the future. So in short, we have to find the dreams. There's no reason why we can't make it or accelerate or become amazing and create the golden age. The only reason is our belief. There's nothing inherently stopping us except our belief system. And once you change that belief, then you start doing the things that are required, which is the journey that I've been on for my life. And if you stay with something long enough, you figure out how to move dreams into form, into reality. And the game comes out of that first Earth-Earth experience. The climate work I'm doing comes out of that experience. The work I'm doing to transform poverty in the developing world comes out of that experience. And this larger reinventing the planet strategy comes out of that experience.
I want to read a couple comments. Dia writes, David is over the top in goodness. This show will be played again and again and again. And I want an Imagine pin too.
Okay.
So, Dia,
well, I'll tell you what I'll do, Scott. Let's play with this and make this part of your service to Afghanistan.
Okay.
I will send you guys pins for anyone who wants to donate to help bring our friends from Afghanistan over to the US, and you'll get an Imagine pin. So you tell me all the people that, if you can track this, I'd be happy to give people an Imagine pin anyway. But let's do something that makes our friends in Afghanistan who've been trapped over there, who've been playing the game. In fact, you may even have that little video of Ali Sina that you could play if you have it handy, that 2.5 minutes. So he's someone who I've worked with, and he's been playing the game. And he actually left to go to Cyprus right before the Taliban took over. And then he had to go back to get a passport, and he's been stuck ever since. He's just amazing. He's like almost like a poet laureate in Afghanistan, but he's stuck. And I know you and Kristen did something on that last night. And so we're trying to get enough for him to get over here by plane. And his mentor, Aziz Royesh, who runs the Marifat school that he was part of, has gotten over here. So anyway, I want to honor you for putting some of your good energy out to you, Scott, to help bring this young man, Ali Sina, over there. So that would be one way. If people want Imagine pins, I can send you a bunch for anyone who donates.
Let me follow up on that for a moment.
Okay.
Here is a photo of Ali Sina. And last night, we made him our fundraising recipient. We raised money through Saturday Night Live. When I last checked, we had raised over $1,200 last night.
No way.
Yeah, we've raised over $1,200. And I haven't checked the GoFundMe this morning, so it's probably more. And we're going to continue, to raise money for him throughout the week, including this show today. For some reason, my computer is frozen, and I'm having, thank God the Zoom's working, but I'm having trouble opening up certain things. But I'm hoping that this will work.
If not, I can find the video. You mean the video of him?
Yeah, I've got the video here, but I'm having trouble opening things.
Let me see if I can back that up. And if I can play it. Let me see. Yeah, I've got it.
Hang on.
You tell me if you want me to do it. I can play
I
it.
think I got it.
Okay.
Oh no, it's failing to load. So you
If you
can go
give me
ahead
the
and
ability to share
share screen on my go ahead.
I'm Ali Sina Sharifi, a peace activist from Afghanistan. I'm one of the first team and zone leaders of Peace on Earth by 2030 game in my country. My highest dream for the world is peace. Since my childhood, I've witnessed explosions, war, violence, and hatred. Taliban and ISIS are acronyms for brutality in my country. However, they're not limited to where I live. They have their likes throughout the world. The Peace on Earth by 2030 game has sparked hope in me and my friends. The 7 actions have allowed us to begin changing the culture of war and violence into a culture of peace and compassion in Afghanistan. We do this through every individual we befriend and each action we take each day. We are now 80 youth leaders strong from high schools and universities. We come to our team meetings with hope, aspiration, and new ideas to reinvent our country. We have learned team building, leadership, and cooperation. We have lost the fear of loneliness as we work for peace on earth in our country and the world. This game is a revolution that is leading the world toward a bright and promising future, full of beauty, full of happiness, and full of love. The time for peace is not going to come tomorrow. It is today. I've lit the torch and pass it to you.
You're muted, Scott.
I want to encourage everybody to support him right now. And the way we can do it is grab your trusty cell phone and go to the camera function and head right towards the Q code. And you'll see at the top of your camera, at the top of your phone, it says open GoFundMe. And that's how you can open it. And this is, we're using the Saturday Night Alive Global Peace Tribe GoFundMe, but all money raised will be, as soon as we can get it to Alisina, will go to him. And there you go. That's how you can donate. And I see that last night we had, oh my gosh, a lot of people. Looks like we had over 50 people donate last night. And it's definitely well over 1,200, maybe up to close to 1,500 now that we've raised. So you have a lot of pins to send out. We'll have to figure out how to best.
Okay, that's cool. Someone said we're not seeing the code. I'm wondering if you
weren't seeing the code just now?
Someone was saying that.
Let me try pulling it up again. Did you see it on your screen?
I didn't see it. I just saw your, yeah, there you go.
There we go. Ah, okay. I'm sorry, I'm having some technology issues with my computer this morning. So that's one of the reasons why I've been muting myself, trying to resolve it. I'm having trouble opening programs. But anyway, here we go. Let's try it again. So take your phone, put it on the camera function, and head towards, and that'll bring up the GoFundMe for Saturday Night Live, the Global Peace Tribe. And what's cool is you could actually click see all, and you can see all the people who donated. Starting, the first person who donated was James Schmachtenberger 16 hours ago. You can see all those people that have donated all that money. And the donations really vary from $5 to $500. And you can see all the people that donated. So even if you can only donate $5, you'll get a pin. And it all matters. It all means a lot. And this is a big deal. We're talking about getting Alisina and his sister out of Afghanistan. They are trapped, and we need to get them out. And so
Sister can't go to school. I mean, they stopped allowing girls to go to school. I mean, it's really sad.
Yeah.
We've been working, just so you know, Scott, we've been working in Afghanistan now for about 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we worked with a man named Aziz Royesh, who created something called the Marifat School, which is this amazing transformational school. They named it the School of Empowerment after our work with them. And we were building agency in these young people. And Alisina was one of our trainers. And he started the Peace on Earth game in Afghanistan, and he got hundreds of people playing. I mean, he's a true global leader, and he's a young man with huge potential. He was also kind of like the poet laureate of Afghanistan, not formally, but he's a beautiful poet. So he is a soul worthy of our best efforts to do good for him. So anyway, I can be helpful, Scott. Please also bring me in.
And I see that somebody is having trouble using the Q code. So I'm going to pull up the link. You can go to GoFundMe and just do a search for Saturday Night Live. But I'm also, it's so funny. None of my windows, my browser windows are opening, which is kind of strange. But I'm going to find a way to get this link. Aha, here we go. I think this might work. I'm going to put the link, and I'm sending it. I think my cell phone text is working. Probably if I restart my computer, but if I restart the computer, we'll lose the signal. So that's why I'm trying a different way. David, while I kind of struggle and work with this, we're having definitely a tough technology morning. Tell us a little bit more about how Alisina got connected to you and then out to Afghanistan. Tell us a little bit more about that part of the story.
I feel like this is an NPR fundraiser. This is your special pin that you'll get Any donation, this is your Imagine pin. So you want to make a difference? This will do good for you. We have many of them. So Ali Sina. In 2016, we invited over a man named Aziz Rayesh, who started a school called the Marifat School. He was recognized by the US government as like the primary transformational school in Afghanistan. He was bringing so many positive things to that country. But what was missing was they needed an ideology of agency. They didn't have it. They were sort of stuck in a worldview of fundamentalized Islam. And so there wasn't anything to kind of give them a counterpoint, which, by the way, many of them are very devout Islam, practitioners of Islam. But the version that was being taught was not giving them a lot of belief because it was so many shoulds and so fundamentalist. So Aziz was very excited to try to find a way to give people a vision of a new way to think about their world beyond just this religious worldview. And so he was very excited to bring this idea of empowerment, that we are able to create our lives as we want it, that we can envision and create our dreams, that we can do that in our lives, in our country, in our world. So he brought that over to his country, and it was very deeply and beautifully received because it gave people another way to sort of deal with all the craziness that they were dealing with in their country. And his school then became devoted to that. And then Ali Sina became a apprentice of Aziz to learn how to teach others. So what you feel and see in Ali Sina is also that he's a very empowered young man. He believes in him. You could feel that, right? He's in Afghanistan. If we say we can't get it together, think about what he's had to go through and all his colleagues and what it's like to create a pose zone in a war zone. So he's an amazing young man. I've spoken to him many, many, many times. I hold him in high regard. I hold all his colleagues in high regard. And so support him, please. We need him. We need him here. We need him to have his light shining more brightly. You are muted, Scott.
I'm muting myself because otherwise, if you hear me make a sound, then it comes to me, and I want to keep the focus on
Not a
you.
problem. I'll be in charge of getting you to unmute. I'll play your job.
Okay, our beloved Kristen is trying to reach us, and so I'm going to send her the link, and I'm just doing that. I did put into the chat box the link where people can go for supporting Ali Sina. And let me get the link for Kristen so that she can join us. This is, you know, we've raised over $150 million for different causes, but honestly, I think this is probably the most important one ever. Tell us one of the things that Kristen shared previously that maybe you could share is some of the emails you've received from him recently. Of course, you shared that his sister can't even go to school. What are some of the other things that he's been communicating?
Did Kristen share with you the latest email he sent us?
That people are disappearing?
Well, I mean, I got an email which I forwarded to Kristen, and she, being Kristen, didn't just receive the email. She said, let's get him out of there.
Yeah.
Bless her soul. Kristen, bless your soul. But he sent an email. I don't know that I have it immediately handy, but it was just describing how bad it is, really, for lack of a better term. But throughout all of it, he didn't lose his faith. He didn't lose his faith. He's a light being. He kept his faith. And his faith, I'm sure, is what got him here. He magnetized Kristen, and now he's magnetizing all of us to him and to his country. I think he will serve his country. I don't know what the fate of Afghanistan is. It's a dark moment for Afghanistan, but I believe in Afghanistan. There's such beautiful souls there. So I think there's going to be another moment, but right now it's in this moment where we need the people there who have the light to come here and figure out how to be able to have more leverage in their country, and also for all the diaspora who are going to need light because they're now displaced and not knowing how to move in their life. So there's a lot going on here. So we need people to lead that movement as well.
David, I've made you the host because my computer, I think, really needs to restart. Kristen's with us, but I can't even now access the chat box of the participants. So I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna restart my computer. So the show is on you. If you are the host, if you go into participants, you can promote her to panelist if you know how to do that. Otherwise, hopefully after I restart my computer, everything will be working properly and I'll be able to come on in. And yes, the link, Dia, is for Saturday Night Live. There's not a specific GoFundMe for Alicina, but all the money we raise that goes into that GoFundMe over the next, starting last night and certainly for the next 2 weeks at least, all of that will go to Alicina.
So Scott, there's lots of messages. I'll be happy to just answer some of the things in the chat while you take care of it.
And yeah, and you can promote Krista to panelist. Otherwise, hopefully I will be back on in 2 minutes, and thank you, everybody.
Well, hello, everybody. A different form. We have to flow with change here. So I'm looking through some of your questions. So let me see what questions. Someone says, what if, Mary Noonan says, what if you don't feel capable of playing the game? So I don't know what you mean by don't feel capable, but some people don't feel capable because they don't feel they have the agency to make change in their lives. So if that's what you mean by capable, what I would say is the beginning step is to start doing your own self-empowerment work. There's a book I've written that might be helpful. It's called Empowerment, the Art of Creating Your Life as You Want It. It's actually part of Action 1, which starts to give you a deepened sense of agency. But you don't need to read that necessarily to build a sense of agency. Start with an intention, which is I am capable. I can do the things that I wish to do in my life. I can make a difference, and just affirm that each day and visualize that. And when you feel the energy is now strong enough in you, then you can just go and start to play the game and just go to peace2030.earth and learn how to register, and then start to reach out to some friends and say, let's do this. So that's a way forward. So hopefully that will get you a little step in the right direction. So let's see what else we have. Okay, let me see what other questions. Please put any questions you have in the chat so I can respond to them. I'm just looking through all of this. What about unconscious trauma that shapes your beliefs? Yes. Our beliefs are shaped in lots of different ways, from our family, from our religion, from our life experiences of all sorts, and from all kinds of traumas that we have. The thing, though, that is so powerful about a belief is that you can change it. And once you've chosen a new belief and you start affirming it, then all of a sudden you start attracting a very different set of experiences. So it's very simple and it's very profound. And it may seem simpler than you might imagine. When I would be teaching in our empowerment workshop about emotions, and someone would say, well, how long does it take to change some of that? And a therapist that I worked with, that really a partner, a friend of ours that we worked with, said, when a client would ask that question, it said, we can do this in 3 sessions. We can do this in 3 months. We can do this in 3 years. We can do this right now. How long do you want to wait to do it? It's that simple and that profound. You can change your belief in the moment if you wish. And the key is create a new belief, build a vision around that, and keep affirming it. So that'll get you started. And the book is another place to go. Let's see what else we have. Yes. Please ask any other questions you might have while I scroll through this to see what else is coming up. A lot of fine thoughts you're saying. Thank you all for your beautiful words. So I can move forward and see if there's any more questions. It doesn't seem like there are any more questions at the moment. So let me just see where, what's your favorite? Kristen, as always, right there for me. Kristen, I love you. I miss you. I'm so happy we got a good sense of you through the video we played and your beautiful music. And as soon as Scott comes back, hopefully he'll let you in here because I'm not sure how to do that. So what's my favorite action of the game? It's a little like saying, what's your favorite child? I love them all. They have different goals and different purposes. Collectively, they have a lot of power because they are building a field. Looks like we've got Scott back. So Scott, I was just answering what Kristen asked me, what's my favorite action of the game? Wow, nice background of the game. And I was saying they're all my favorites. I like children and I love them all. But I would say what you'd get from playing all 7 actions of the game is that you're building like a field. So you need abundance, you need harm, you need oneness, you need unity, you need, here's Kristen, you need empowerment, and so on. Hey, Kristen. So they all have a role to play. And as you start to play the game, they start to build a critical mass that gets stronger and more powerful as you play it. So that's my answer to that question.
All right.
We ran out of questions, and now we've got Kristen and we got you, Scott. So thank you for coming back in, and welcome. Kristen.
Yeah. For some reason, my big computer has stopped functioning, so I grabbed my smaller computer. And I was able to now get back and at least get things to work. And there's Kristen.
Hello.
So Kristen, I'm going to put the spotlight on you. And, thank you for joining us this morning.
It's so wonderful to be here. And I was tuning in the whole time on Facebook and enjoying deeply. David, I loved your meditation at the beginning. And when you were talking about Archangel Michael, I had to go put on my Archangel Michael pendant to come on. So, and just this fundraising effort means the world to me. And I know, David, I get tears in my eyes when I even think about just all of the love and the generosity that's coming forward. So I know I can speak for all of us who have played the game and who have known this incredible team that we've worked with in Afghanistan. We're just so grateful for your support. And it's beautiful to be here. It's a wonderful Sunday.
Scott, if I could just say one thing, building off of what Kristen said. I mean, this is playing the game. This is befriending the other in the most beautiful way. This is the unitive impulse. This is oneness. This is cooperating for the common good. This is helping create a healing. So in some ways, the best exemplar of playing the game, first of all, is Kristen showing up and saying, we need to help our dear Alisina, but it's also everyone who's choosing to donate. And even opening their heart and sending their goodwill and their blessings to this young man and his sister and all the people of Afghanistan. And in spite of it all, there's another person that came. Do you remember Jaweed? Kristen, did you ever bump into him along your travels?
I don't think I know you've shared about Jaweed, but I haven't actually.
So Jaweed is he's sticking around in Kabul, and he is going to be opening up a store. He's got a peace zone going, a PO zone, peace on earth zone. So he's trying to keep it together for the people that are there. They have to do it on the QT, but light needs to be sent to these folks who are the light bearers holding the light for their fellow people who are trying to make it through this difficult time.
And David, I just have to commend you. I mean, just the opportunity that this game offered to me in my own life to play to play these actions personally, but also to interact with the team in Afghanistan. That's something that came about because of your vision. And that was an invaluable and heart-opening experience for me, not just to play the game, but to be interacting and having bi-weekly meetings with this other team as well, and seeing a very different experience play out there, but yet so centered in the actions and the energies of the game. So just thank you for all you're doing, David. You are a serious light in this world. You have brought so much optimism to my life and to my perspective, and you've been that beacon of light that has reminded me when I have those days when I feel like, oh, is it really possible? Just talking to David or tuning into the game or any of his writings, he is a constant lighthouse that helps us to tune and beam back up to our higher selves. So this game can be that for you. And when you practice over a few months with your team and you practice holding each other up, when one person's going through a hard time, you have another team member who can really help lift your spirits. And that's part of the beauty of working together with a small team amidst a larger space of many teams, is that we get to actually practice these skills and bring them into our lives, so that once we're done playing the game, we're not actually done playing the game. We continue playing naturally in our own worlds.
So beautiful, Kristen.
I want to acknowledge that just in the last few minutes, 4 of the people in our Zoom room have donated. So I want to, and so we've raised another $250. So thank you, Carol Weekly. Thank you, Bonnie Mae Russell. Thank you, Dia Therese. And thank you, Roger Tellefson. They've all donated just in the last few minutes.
Do we know, Scott or Kristen, how much we need to raise to get he and his sister out of Afghanistan?
I would say a minimum of 4,000 would be ideal. And, you know, anything additional would be beautiful, just to help support and bolster a huge change, a huge life change. But
so we're about a little under halfway then.
Yeah, we're close to halfway,
Yeah. I'm thinking about all that I've learned from the NPR fundraisers. Okay, guys, halfway, almost. Kristen will sing if you give more money.
How about I sing the song and we just meditate on all? Do you want to hear the Golden Age song, David?
Well, I think that any day and any moment in any day, I will always want to hear this song. My favorite song in the entire cosmos.
Okay, let's play. I wasn't.
What time do we have, Scott?
I wasn't planning to play, but let's. Hold on, I've got to switch my settings. Let's play a little "Welcome to the Golden Age," the theme song of the game, so we can get in the spirit. Hold on, I gotta find it. Here we go. Okay, let the journey begin.
And it's one to Sunday, so this is the perfect day to sing "Welcome to the Golden Age."
Oh, I had the volume turned down. Hold on. Here we go. Welcome to the Golden Age. High frequency or DNA, anchored in our will to shine, with peace on earth our guiding light. Celebration has begun, so close your eyes, heartbeat as one. We are one. Transformation is now. Feel the sun, golden light shining down. When we dream as one, transformation is now. Feel the sun, golden light shining down. When we dream as one, we hold the key to evolve. See as one, unconditional love. Faith and oneness, unity, abundance, love. Our love, empowerment is raising and cooperation. Faith and oneness, unity, abundance, love. Our love, empowerment is raising and cooperation. We are one. Transformation is now. Feel the sun, golden light shining down. When we dream as one, we hold the key to evolve. See as one. When we see as one, unconditional love. Welcome to the golden age, where peace on earth in one decade is held in every heart and mind, and lifted through the codes of time. Acceleration has begun. Now's our moment to live as one. Feel the rhythm of Gaia's drum. Just close your eyes, heartbeat as one. Yay. I realized at the beginning I started singing, and I usually have like a little cheat sheet up just with in case I forget a word, and I have to find my cheat sheet, and so I had to sing the first verse while finding the cheat sheet, but I gave it away.
We would have never known that.
I
Yeah.
cheat a little bit. Especially when it's it's not the morning anymore, but for me it's still, a daytime singing. My brain's still getting all organized.
Kristen, you are incredible. I was wondering how you remember every word, and so now I know. But also, you didn't need to remember every word. You already had it.
I do it mostly from memory, but then there's certain songs I don't, especially these days when I'm not playing, live out in the world all the time and singing these songs as regularly as I used to. I just, it's nice to have our little mini cheat sheet.
So I have a question for you. May I, Scott will kind of co-create on Kristen for a moment. How did you end up creating that song? I know I asked you to create it.
I was going to say, well, it started with you.
But I mean, that's different from what you actually ended up creating.
Yes. So I love writing songs like this for especially incredible missions and organizations that really are making a difference in the world. So when David called me to do this song, I said immediately yes. And the way it happens is I had an amazing interview with David, and I had already played the game, and he sent me the outline of his feelings and the energies of the game, which became the bridge. And then from there, for me with songwriting, it's like I have all my notes and all the information, and I tune in and I pray and I feel and I call to my highest guides and I say, help me bring this song through in the highest vibration possible. And something amazing always happens. it's like a puzzle starts to unfold. It's almost like I see all the pieces as they need to arrange themselves. And it totally happened with this song. It was one of those, boom, it started to sing itself. The melody, the lyrics started to just arrange, and then I thought, oh, the bridge, that can be this time to really tune into the energies that David taps into in the meditations. And it all came together. And then there was the amazing day where I got to send it to David, and I'm like, fingers crossed. I think you're going to love this as much as I do. I was really trying to tap into a universal vibe. So I was thinking about some of my favorite Beatles songs, like Imagine, and the vibration that comes with those songs. So as I was tuning to the vibe and the pacing and the energy of the music, I thought, oh, I want to pull in some of that universal kind of Imagine vibration into this piece, and I feel like we got that. This almost feels like it has a little, it pays a little homage to the Beatles in its own right.
Well, Imagine used to be my favorite #1 song.
Yes, I know. And with your pins, I thought, oh, perfect song to tune into.
So Scott, back to you, your show.
I know we
Oh,
took over.
That's totally okay. It's so funny. My brand new big computer is just all of a sudden not functioning. So I'm on my little tiny one. So I've been kind of managing technology stuff and also managing my dog. The moment Krista started to sing, Jasmine Bear, my younger dog, came running over, So there is I want to read some of the comments that have come in. Eleanor Joy, one of our favorites, who's always comes to all of our shows, says the program has been awesome. And now we've also got Kristen sharing her brilliant light with us. Dia writes, Kristen, you are the embodiment of the rediscovery of humanity's divine magnificence. Thank you for being in my life. I am weeping.
Thank you so much. That is so beautiful. I am honored. And every day when I wake up and I have this opportunity to be with you all and use music as a vehicle for our connection and our awakening, I just give thanks every morning when I wake up. And to be here today with you all and with David and Scott, this is just, it's such a blessing when we get to come together like this. Truly. Thank you.
Eleanor Joy writes more spontaneity in the flow, beauty, and creativity. Wow, I am so grateful to Spirit for bringing me here this morning. On a more serious note, Lorna asks a good question. How are you planning to help get him out? So, Kristen, do you want to kind of address what the plan is?
Yeah, I want to be a little sensitive to how we speak about the details that we share right now. I did get an email this morning which was asking to be very sensitive about name and details right now. But let's just say there are arrangements being aligned right now, and we are supporting. And I think the best way for us to support is with our love, our prayers, and with our financial support. What I've come to understand is that Sina actually really, that the actual organization needs to come from there. So where I'd love to just be able to figure out a plan myself and help to make that happen, we're actually just bolstering the plan that Sina is already making, and it's happening very soon. So any additional support we can give is just so much appreciated. And
Beautiful.
Sorry I can't go into very specific details. I just don't want to lay out like a whole, I know you all understand. We have to be a bit sensitive at the moment.
Lorna is giving us a namaste, so she's
Yes.
Well, I think we actually need to wrap up because Kristen has an amazing event taking place today, which I'm honored that I get to host and attend. And it's the Sonic Source Activation. So hopefully, I know many of you are probably going to watch that, but if you haven't already registered, go to sonicsourceactivation.com. Unfortunately, it's on my other computer, so
Oh, I can post in the
yeah,
chat.
can you post in the chat? That'd
Let's
be
see.
great.
It's just the link right here, Sonic Source
Yeah, if you
Activation.
could do that. David,
It's
how
gonna
do
be
people,
really a beautiful time, and it's in an hour and a half, you guys. So you could have a lunch break and go for a little walk, and then come back and join us again.
and it's my fifth and final. I've hosted 5 online events this weekend. And I'm probably the most excited about that. Well, actually, they're all wonderful. They're all great. David, how do people reach you? People that want more information, do you want them to go to the Peace on Earth 2030 website, or do you want
I mean,
them
I mean, there's lots of ways to engage in my world, but I would say, since we've been talking about the game, is to go to peace2030.earth. When you go there, you'll see a pop-up that invites you to learn how to become a team leader and or a pose zone leader, like Ali, Sina, and Kristen have been. And there you are. Yep. So November 17th, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 Eastern time. And our wonderful Miranda Clendenning, who is the game manager, will be sharing how you can plug in. We're getting ready to start pose zones all across the world, in Africa, across North America, and lots of other places. So you can learn about how to do that, how to play the game. That'd be the easiest way to get plugged in. Beyond that, you can just go to the website directly and sign up to be a team leader if you're ready, and then just spend some time there and get a feel for what we're doing. So those would be the next steps.
how long will the pose zone training be, do you think?
The length of time of the pose zone training, I think
The length of the length of time. So in other
it
words,
is for 60 minutes.
okay, great. That's good to know. So Wednesday, November 17th. So let's all definitely sign up for that. I definitely will sign up for it. I actually already had, but I will again. And here we go. I want to thank everybody so much for joining us. And for those of you who are on Facebook, I'm sorry, because of my internet issues, I haven't been able to be as active in connecting with what's going on with Facebook, but I'll go back and take a look. And Kristen has put in to the chat box here, and I'll pass it on also to our friends on Facebook. Or you just go to sonicsourceactivation.com, sonicsourceactivation.com. You can still register, and you can join Kristen and Cornflower. I'll be there just at the first 2 minutes, and then I'll be listening like everybody else, dropping in and experiencing the magic of Kristen and Cornflower together. It's amazing. Are you muted, Kristen?
It's going to be a beautiful cosmic journey, and if you just feel like putting on your blindfold and kicking back and listening to music, you're invited to do that. And we will also have a creative prompt for each of the musical explorations. So there will be 4 prompts. The first one is going to be meditation and visioning. The second one will be drawing, painting, whatever you feel, expressing yourself artistically. The third prompt will be free flow writing, and the fourth will be movement. So you can choose. You can engage and use the music as a vehicle to tap into and spark your own creativity, or you can just zone out and go as deep as you can. You can tune into Peace on Earth and send out the vibrations. And but we're also, it's going to be, the theme is doors of perception. And so we're using these mystic guides. Some of my favorite, I'm going to do Rumi exploration during one piece, where I kind of divine with my Rumi book and see what I land on. And I'm going to be feeding in Rumi wisdom as we go. It's going to be really cool. So we're literally going to have mystic passages that help guide us through the music.
Fantastic. My lights are going out. The rain is coming down.
Let's call it a
yeah, let's call in good technology because I'm hosting. Although what I'll do is, Kristen, as soon as we come on, let's meet a few minutes before. I will make you co-host in case my technology fails. Thank you, everybody, for watching. David, thank you so much for who you are as a being in our world, and sharing time with us this morning. Thank you, everybody who's donated to this very, very important cause to bring Alisina and his sister home safely, holding the vision when they're going to be on one of our shows, sharing their experiences, and thanking us for helping them financially, and also our prayers and hearing their story. That will be an amazing moment that I'm envisioning. Kristen, love you so much. And I will see you in 1 hour and about an hour and 10 minutes, probably, because we'll meet a little bit early. Take care, everybody. God's blessing.
Love you all. David,
Thank you, Scott.
thank you so much, David, for sharing your wisdom and your amazing presence and mission with the world.
Thank you, everybody. Bye. Have
Bye-bye.
fun later on.
Yay.
Bye-bye.